Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Box Office Receipts for the weekend of February 21st, 2020. I'm your host, Tyler Callahan, and I need to start out by saying I fucked up. So last week, if you listened, I did not double check, and I talked about The Invisible Man coming out and made my top 5 predictions based on that. Turns out, it doesn't come out until this week. So I apologize for the wrong information about that, and we'll make some proper predictions for this week with that in mind. With that said, let's get into the actual weekend top 5. Staying in first place after a close fight is Sonic the Hedgehog with $26.3 million for a total of $106.6 million. Opening in second place is Call of the Wild with $24.8 million. In third place is Birds of Prey with $7 million for a total of $72.5 million. Opening in fourth place is Bram's The Boy 2 with $5.9 million. Lastly, in fifth place is Bad Boys for Life with $5.8 million for a total of $191.1 million. So besides the Invisible Man mix-up, most of my predictions were right. I will say the Call of the Wild surprised just about everyone, with it coming in stronger than expected. It was supposed to do around 15 million, maybe closer to 20, but 24 million and Challenge Sonic, that is a welcome surprise for Disney and Fox. However, this is a Doolittle situation. The numbers are better than expected, but the budget is too big and it's still a flop. The Call of the Wild cost around 125 million to make, which is crazy. But right now, domestically, it looks like could top off between 50 to 70 million domestic. So unless the international numbers are really strong, this will still be an underperformer, just not a straight up bomb. Sonic also held decently with a 55% drop compared to last weekend and should finish between 150 to 175 million domestically. Birds of Prey did not hold up well, losing a good amount of theaters, which helped it drop 59% compared to last weekend. At this point, 100 million domestic finish looks almost impossible to reach, and more likely around 90 million. Bram's did about as well as expected, so there's that, and Bad Boys for Life should finally reach 200 million domestic by next weekend. Looking at some other domestic numbers, Parasite made another 3 million, in part thanks to its now 1 week run on IMAX screens. Its total is now 48.9 million. Fantasy Island dropped 66% to make 4.1 million, with its total now at 20 million. A big drop, but that was expected. 1917 is still making money, coming in at 6th place with a 4.4 million for a total of 151.9 million. Speaking of movies still making money, Jumanji is still doing it 2 months after release with 3 million for the weekend, with a total now of 310 million. It's crazy legs, just keep going. Going to the international numbers, Sonic is now at 42.9 million internationally for a worldwide total of 149.5 million. The Call of the Wild made 15.4 million for a worldwide opening weekend of 40.2 million. Bram's The Boy 2 made 2.2 million for a worldwide opening weekend of 8.1 million. Birds of Prey is now at 101 million internationally for a worldwide total of 173 million. What was once expected to make between 300 and 350 million will now finish between 200 and 250 million, and probably closer to 200 to that rate. Fantasy Island is at 13 million for a worldwide total of 33.7 million. Parasite is at 161.1 million internationally for a worldwide total of 210 million. Finally, Bad Boys for Life is almost at 400 million, with it at 391 million. Looking at what is coming out this weekend, finally The Invisible Man is coming out, which I do think will open up in first place. Box Office Pro has it tracking around anywhere from 20 to 40 million. I think it'll be closer to 25-30 million, but even with that should beat Sonic for first place. Now, if the reviews are shit, then sure, maybe Sonic repeats again, but for now, I will bet against that. So my predictions for the weekend top 5 are: in first place, The Invisible Man; second place, Sonic the Hedgehog; third place, The Call of the Wild; fourth place, Birds of Prey; and fifth place, Bad Boys for Life. The Boy 2 will drop hard because horror movies usually do, and a terrible one will definitely. So even a 50% drop would put it all just over 2.5 million, which, if we compare that 2.5 million to last weekend's numbers, would end up in around 10th place. The rest seems to make sense, but what do you think? Do you think The Invisible Man can open in first place? This is Universal's first horror movie of the year, and so far horror movies have been terrible. So is this the one to buck the trend? Let me know on Instagram at Tyler Callahan Media, or on Facebook. Link to the page is in the show notes. And that'll be it for this week's episode of Box Office Receipts. Thanks for listening, and see you then.